There are mysteries in this world that no man can fully explain. But prophecy is not a mystery. It is a map. And the sealed gate of Jerusalem, it is more than just stone and mortar. It is a divine clock, ticking down to a moment the world is not prepared for. The question is, are you watching the signs or are you sleeping through them? The Eastern Gate is not just a structure of stone. It is not just an old wall sealed shut. No, it is a message from heaven, placed on earth. It is the only gate in Jerusalem that leads directly to the Temple Mount, the holiest site in all of Israel. And yet, it's sealed. Why? Who sealed it? And more importantly, who is it waiting for? Centuries ago, a sultan sealed that gate with 12 feet of concrete and stone, thinking he could block the prophecy. But you can't block what God has already spoken. You can't seal what heaven has declared open in due season. This gate isn't closed by accident. It's sealed on purpose because it's holding a divine appointment. The Bible says the glory of the Lord will return through that very gate. And it hasn't opened since. Now listen carefully. This isn't about ancient architecture. It's about a prophetic calendar. This gate is part of God's timeline. And the moment it moves, even just an inch, the spiritual realm reacts. Every nation, every kingdom, every system is being positioned for what's coming next. But only those with eyes to see can recognize the signs. Many walk past it and see a wall. But the wise, they see a promise. That sealed gate is a witness. It's watching. It's waiting for the arrival of the King of Glory. The world can laugh, leaders can mock, governments can legislate, but that gate, it won't open for anyone but him. No political figure, no military force, no religious group has the authority to move it. Only one does. So what happens when that gate starts to shift? What does it mean when ancient stones begin to respond to divine timing? What will it signal when a gate that has been sealed for over 500 years begins to show signs of movement? Because, friend, once that gate moves, the king is not far behind. But before that moment arrives, something else must happen. Something just as ancient, just as prophetic. And it's already unfolding. Are you ready for what's behind the waiting wall? The gate that waits is not waiting on time. It's waiting on a person. It's not counting down minutes. It's aligned with prophetic moments. This gate, the Eastern Gate of Jerusalem, is the only gate the Messiah is prophesied to enter when he returns. That's why it's sealed. That's why it's untouched. That's why no one has dared to open it, because even the earth knows who it's been reserved for. It's not about bricks. It's not about borders. It's about the return of royalty. The king isn't coming through just any door. He's coming through his own entrance. That gate is a throne room door dressed as a wall. And right now, it's not broken, it's holding position. Because heaven never rushes. God is never late. And prophecy is never random. That gate is waiting. And it's not waiting for a nation or a religion or a movement. It's waiting for a king. Every ruler who has risen has passed. Every kingdom that tried to claim Jerusalem has faded. But this gate remains sealed, silent, steady, because its moment is coming. And when it opens, it will not be with human hands. It will be the fulfillment of divine timing. and no one can stop what's already been ordained. You see, even nature knows how to wait on God. Stones know how to stay still until heaven speaks. But do we? While the gate waits for the king, the question is, are you waiting with expectation, or are you watching with unbelief? Because when that gate opens, it won't be a quiet moment. It'll be a sound that shakes the heavens and the earth. The entrance of the king is not a suggestion, it is a guarantee. And now, signs are starting to stir. Shadows are moving in the holy city. And the gate is still waiting, but not for long. Because before the king walks through that entrance, something else must rise, something that's already awakening, something more powerful than armies. And it's not what the world expects. Why would a gate that's sealed still be speaking? Because some gates don't use words, they use witness. The eastern gate has no voice, no breath, yet it testifies every single day, testifies to prophecy, to promise, to power that hasn't yet been revealed. It's a voice in stone, a monument in silence, a message from eternity that can't be erased. People walk past it like it's just history. Tourists snap pictures like it's just a wall. But that gate, it's alive with purpose. It speaks without sound. And yet the nations are starting to hear it. Something's shifting in the atmosphere. Something's moving that eyes can't fully see. But the gate knows. It knows what's coming. It knows who it's waiting for, and it knows who it will not open for. You can't explain that with logic. You can't define it through politics. You must discern it by the Spirit. Because the sealed gate is like a heavenly countdown that doesn't tick with seconds. It ticks with seasons. Seasons of alignment. Seasons of shaking. Seasons of divine fulfillment. And once the season comes into full alignment, nothing will hold it shut. The most powerful part? That gate has waited patiently for centuries, through wars, through occupations, through rebuilding, through resistance, and still it stands sealed. Because prophecy doesn't panic. Destiny doesn't rush. What God has spoken cannot return void. So now the question isn't whether the gate is speaking. The question is, are we listening? Are we still enough to hear what creation is trying to announce? Because when the eastern gate begins to echo in the spirit realm, it means something greater is being stirred. And what comes before the king enters is just as prophetic as his arrival. What does the gate say now? It says, I am sealed until he comes. And when he comes, the world will no longer wonder. They will witness. But before the world sees the gate open, another sound must rise. A sound that has been building beneath the surface. A sound older than time itself. And it's about to be released. Jerusalem is not just a city, it's a spiritual compass. And the wall that holds the eastern gate, that wall is not just stone. It's a watchman, a silent alarm, built not by accident, but by divine design. While the world debates politics, religion, borders, and conflict, that wall is sitting on the edge of prophetic fulfillment. You may think it's just a historic wall in an ancient land, but heaven calls it something else, a last day's trumpet, carved in limestone. And when that trumpet sounds, it won't be with noise, it will be with movement. That wall will not crumble under pressure. It will respond to purpose. Because the moment it begins to shift, everything on earth will feel it. You see, what happens in Jerusalem doesn't stay in Jerusalem. It ripples across the globe. what's built in that city, what's broken, what's restored. It all points to a larger picture. The Bible calls it the city of the great king, not just because of history, but because of destiny. And when that wall begins to tremble, it means he is near. The nations are watching war. The media is watching politics. But only those who walk by revelation can see what's really unfolding, a heavenly setup, a stage being built stone by stone. And this wall, this specific part of the wall, it will be the backdrop of the greatest return the universe has ever seen. When that wall shakes, when the gate opens, when the king steps forward, there will be no warning. It will happen in a moment. But until then, that wall is screaming one thing: get ready. Not just physically, not just politically, but spiritually. Because while the world sleeps, the wall stands alert. While people argue, the wall remains faithful. And while hearts grow cold, the wall still burns with prophecy. It's a holy reminder that time is almost up. But before that wall makes its move, another sign will rise. One that doesn't come from stone, one that comes from the very ground you're standing on. And it's already starting to shake. When stones begin to speak, it means heaven is getting closer. Because in Jerusalem, even the rocks know his name. The very ground, the very walls, the very sealed gate, they all carry echoes of eternity. And in this moment, we're not just watching prophecy. We're standing inside it. The stones are testifying louder than the voices of kings and presidents. Why? Because creation was here before us, and it knows what's coming next. You may not hear it with your ears, but if your spirit is awake, you'll sense it. A trembling, a stirring, a divine conversation between heaven and earth. Jesus once said, if they keep silent, the rocks will cry out. That wasn't poetry. That was prophetic reality. And now, those rocks are beginning to whisper again. Whisper what? That the time is near, that the gate is ready, that the footsteps of the king are approaching. They're not just old ruins. They are guardians of a promise. Silent, yes, but not sleeping. Cracked, yes, but not broken. They've watched empires rise and fall. They've seen rulers come and go, but they've never moved until now. Because what's coming is not a revival of religion, it's the return of a ruler. And the earth is preparing for him. The mountains are preparing. The skies are preparing. The skies preparing for him. The mountains are preparing. The skies are preparing. And even the stones are getting in position. If creation itself is responding, what about you? When stones speak louder than sermons, when walls begin to tremble without wind, when prophecy no longer waits but activates, it means the atmosphere is shifting. And when God starts using the earth to speak, it's because man stopped listening. So now, the sealed gate is speaking. The waiting wall is signaling, and the stones are shouting. But that's not all, because there's another element preparing to make its move. Something more ancient than stone, more fluid than history, and more uncontrollable than any war or gate. And it's rising from deep within the earth. The return path is already prepared. The journey is not being built, it's already finished. Heaven isn't reacting, it's already orchestrated. Long before men began to argue over Jerusalem, long before wars were fought over that land, a path was carved for a king's return. Not just any king, but the king. This path doesn't begin with politics. It doesn't start with maps. It starts with prophecy. Every footstep of history has been guided. Every war has been permitted. Every ruler has been used, not to delay the return, but to prepare the way. And now, that way is no longer future. It's now visible. The signs are no longer hiding. They're screaming. From the Mount of Olives to the sealed eastern gate, the route is clear. And the gate? It faces the mountain like it's waiting, like it knows something's about to walk through. Why is this important? Because prophecy is not about chance. It's about timing. And timing is no longer waiting. It's aligning. Every movement in Israel right now, every political tension, every spiritual awakening, every tremor in the land, it's not random. It's not chaos. It's preparation. A divine setup for a divine entrance. Because the moment the king takes that path, everything the world thought it understood will change. But here's the question. If the path is ready, are you? Because this won't be a return in secret. This won't be a whisper. This will be a visible, undeniable, global moment. And only those who are watching, waiting, preparing will recognize him when he comes. That path may look empty now, but it's holy ground. It's sacred space. It's the corridor of completion. And heaven has already released the green light. But before he steps onto that path, something must be revealed. A force must rise that has been hidden for generations. It's not made of stone, it's not shaped by hands, but it holds the power to shake every kingdom on earth. A closed gate doesn't mean the prophecy is delayed. It means the prophecy is protected. That sealed eastern gate isn't just blocked by stone. It's guarded by purpose. It won't open for curiosity. It won't open for tourists. It won't open for governments. It is waiting for one, and one only. And until he comes, the gate remains shut, not in defiance, but in obedience. That's why no one can break it down. That's why no army has claimed it. Because heaven placed a seal man cannot remove. This is not a man-made defense system. This is a heaven-issued lockdown. And the moment it opens, the spiritual world and the natural world will collide. The sealed gate is not a symbol of silence. It's a container of prophecy. Behind that gate is not just a city. It's a throne. Behind that gate is not just territory. It's destiny. And heaven has kept it hidden until the set time. Think about it. Every king enters through a gate. Every ruler approaches through an opening prepared for their arrival. And this gate, this one is exclusive. It's not open to traffic. It's not open to opinion. It's not open to religion. It's been closed by command. And it will be opened by command. So don't mistake silence for stillness. Don't confuse waiting with weakness. The gate is charged with glory, waiting for the arrival of majesty. And when it swings open, it won't be a whisper. It'll be a world-altering moment. The earth will respond. Nations will tremble. Eyes that never looked up before will be forced to see what's coming through. But that moment isn't random. That moment is part of a sequence. Before the gate opens, heaven always sends a signal. A final awakening, a last trumpet, a spiritual shift that no one can ignore. And friend, that signal, it won't come from above. It won't come from the ground. It will come from within. From something God planted long ago. And it's now breaking the surface with fire. Fire always comes before glory. Before God reveals himself, he always ignites something. And right now, that fire is rising. Not from the sky, not from politics, not from religion. It's rising from within the people, from the depths of the earth, from the cry of nations that are tired of lies, hungry for truth, and desperate for a king who can't be voted in or voted out. This is not wildfire. This is refining fire. It doesn't come to destroy. It comes to prepare. The fire is purging. The fire is waking up hearts that have been asleep. It's burning away pride, shaking systems, exposing corruption, and calling forth a holy remnant, a people that carry light in darkness, that walk by vision and not just by sight. Can you feel it? The shaking in your spirit? The tension in the atmosphere? That's the fire doing its work. Because before the gate opens, God prepares a people. Not just spectators, not just believers in name only. He's looking for fire bearers, people who've been through the flame and still refuse to bow to anything but truth. The fire is a signal. It tells heaven, we're ready. It tells the earth, the king is coming. And it tells the enemy, time is up. You've got to be more than informed. You've got to be transformed. Because when the fire touches your life, you won't be the same. You'll speak different, walk different, see different. You'll carry a weight of glory that doesn't come from books, but from the presence of the one who is coming. And when that fire spreads, the gate will open. And when the gate opens, the path will shine. And when the path shines, the king will appear. The sealed gate is moving. The signs are shouting. The nations are trembling. And the question is no longer, is he coming? The question now is, are you ready to meet him? Because everything heaven has spoken is now standing at the door.